Welcome to the Clay Studios oil painting tutorial. This is Gomati Sivasankaran. We are now continuing to work on the large canvas. Today you do not see me in front of the canvas, so we are mostly going to do a lot of planning together, and then we will get on to working back in the canvas. You already have noticed what I have here, the picture that we are going to work on today. References, where today is a strategic planning episode, focusing more on what exactly are we going to do, how are we going to do, is there any changes we want to make, and if yes, how. A lot of planning is going to go on today. So do um, have printouts ready in front of you, or if you are someone who prefers the grids, lines and everything set up in a computer or a laptop or yeah, any of your mobile devices, it could also be a good thing that you are with me. I'm going to do it manually so you can see every single thing as well here. Okay, so the painting that we are going to work on is Radha Krishna, and you already have the reference pictures that you could download and from the link that is available in the session. And you must be wondering, what is it we are going to do? There are two different pictures. Are we going to do both? What exactly are we going to do? um, the idea of references is generally to take inspiration from, maybe take some proportions or some logical details from, but not necessarily copying. um, this this particular reference that I have picked up, these two references that I have picked up, are from the internet. If you just Google search Radha Krishna images and so on, you will find that. um, what I am going to do here is to try and see how I can pick up the best of the both, and create something that is maybe slightly different from what we have here. And let's see why. So this picture that I have in front of me, I'm going to open up in my uh, document here and also try to show you in a larger screen. Yes. And when we share screens, and let's see what happens here. So this is a picture, and it's a beautiful color background, and a lot of things are really very engaging about this picture. What I wanted to work on is a portrait of Radha and Krishna swinging in this swing, and I wanted that aspect of it. So I was searching for something like that. This is pretty much very close to what I want to work with. So this is how, when you Google search, when you're searching for references, you try to put all the keywords to find out what is close to your thought process if you are looking for references. um, the reason I do not paint on my own completely is also that, with respect to God and goddesses, there are so many aspects that you cannot let go. So I just want to be sure that I'm also in the right direction with that. So it really helps that I have some guiding points. So this is the one that is mostly fitting, but there are challenges with this, and I'm going to share with you what it is. So if I maximize this painting, the color background is a little too dominating, and there are so many elements to this, and which is very good because that's telling the story of Lord Krishna. And it's talking about, I can see there is this cow, the element of having Mother Yashoda around, and the gopis, the girls. And the background really talks about all the all the nice things that he has been through. And and the peacock and so on. So there's a lot of elements which I am not really into. I'm not going to have such a heavy background. That's my first thing. It's going to be a very simplified background. So I haven't really decided on that, but I'm very sure that this is not the one that I want. One. So the background is going to be different. Number two, the jewelry is where I am a little finding it um I must say not too appealing to me. Maybe I would want it slightly different. So I want to experiment a little bit with jewelry. One. And also the mala, the garland on their neck. I like the garland, and to be honest, the accessories in the other picture that's in front of me in this camera. This is more appealing rather to me than the ones that are here. So that's something that I want to change. Number three, the eyes. It's so much looking like, they are only looking at each other, and obviously, it's so much representing the love element. I like the idea of it, but I would also love to see how would it be if they made eye contact with us, the audience. So that's one thing I want to experiment with. So I want to change a little bit on the eye contact, on their eye contact, maybe slightly towards us, not 100% maybe, but then I want to experiment that. So this is one thing I want to do. Another thing I noticed is that the uh, the way the hip is placed, the angle seems right. But if the hip is placed that way, the thigh angle of Lord Krishna seems to be slightly off. It's a minor error. It's a minor error. It doesn't look per se wrong. If you take a, make it smaller and then take a look at it, no, nothing looks wrong. It looks perfect. But I would imagine that both are seated. The hip elbow, the hip bones. So they are seated slightly facing each other, isn't it? So the angle is this angle is right, and this angle is yeah, the right. The angles are in the right direction. But if the angles are in the right direction, then for the hip, then there is something slightly off with the angles for the thigh. And this is something that I would be able to show it to you when I draw that on the canvas itself, what exactly I mean. So I'll try to imitate this, and I will also show you what uh, can be done in terms of correction. So this is where I am slightly not convinced with. And given that they are swinging, there is air flowing. The cloth movement seems to be, this is slightly correct. I would say this is correct, but something is off. Something is off. Again, I'm not able to clearly note, but I can see that there are certain things that I would do it slightly different. I think it comes back from the thought process that the angle of the thigh itself is slightly off, and that error continues with the clothing as well. And that has to be fixed. And if you noticed, this the cloth that he is having looks like a partitioned skirt or something. But it's not necessarily that. So there has to be some uh, different alignment into this. These are all the things that I noted. Okay. And One more thing that I want to change is the color combination. Again, maybe because of the background, I'm not able to see the colors effectively. The background dominates. It could be that if we remove the background and see only those colors, maybe they are bright enough or nicer enough or so such. So even though I'm going to pick up this as a main theme to work on, it looks like I'm going to do a lot of changes to it. And the second picture that I picked up, let's move on to the second picture here. This picture convinces me onto the skin color that I want of Krishna. Maybe I would want a little bit more on the bluish side, but close to what I am thinking of. So the color appeals to me, the jewelry appeals to me a little more, the mala, the garland appeals to me much more than what I saw in the previous picture. And the colors appeal to me even perfectly. Um, I think I will go for a lot of elements from here and place it in that artwork. That's one thing. Again, here there is an error with there's always this proportion error that I notice. I don't know if you notice it, but I'm going to maximize this enough to show you. The hip is fine. This is the length for this kind of body. The height, the length seems okay to me. This is where I can see the knee possibly is. um But if this knee is here, where is the other knee? It's too far away from the hip, too far away from the hip and folded here. This is where the proportion error is. These are very slight proportion errors, and I must tell you that I'm no expert. Every artist does his or her own mistake, and it's a learning process forever. But then when I am going to do do my own work, I would like to be sure of that. I try to avoid these obvious errors that are sitting here and not to replicate that. When I work on the painting. So this is what I have in mind. Why do a black and white version? I think this is the simplest way you can understand color tonalities. That's why I made a black and white version. That's what I have printed off here as well. So if I have to just quickly summarize the changes that I want to make: background different, jewelry, garland, accessories are going to be different. Even the clothing colors could be different, maybe the same, could be different. And eye contact, I will try to attempt that eye contact towards the audience. And also the hip and thigh coordination, something is definitely off when we draw the clear lines only, because there's too much going on here and the face is so appealing and so much is loving here. We are unable to see through clearly. But when we draw just plain and straight lines here around in our canvas, we're going to very quickly identify the error. So these are the changes we are going to make, given that we have decided on what we are going to make. So I come back to the thought process of how do we work on references such as these. So the references, the term reference itself, means that you're taking a reference from something. You are taking inspiration from something, but try to make sure that it's going to be in your own way, in as many ways as possible. Making a copy of it, it's an amazing thing also to do. I have personally learned by copying a lot of masters work. And even now when I want to practice, I do make copies. The other videos or pictures of me, updates of me learning from other artists, you will see a copy of, definitely. and I do appreciate that totally. But then, the sooner we are able to come out of this copying aspect, the better it is, I would say. Um, so this is what my overall thought process is here, about the copying aspect or referencing aspect. Be sure that you are taking enough references that you are able to compare and contrast, and this is also going to help you, because these two, if you see, they are totally different. It is the same concept of Radha and Krishna, but then the positions are different and so many aspects are different. So if we are picking up from two different sources, the chances of us slipping into copying is less. And the less and less we are trying to copy, the more and more we are pushing ourselves to learn. Also, yeah, as much as possible, try to experiment with different color tonalities uh, and different elements of it. Yeah. So that's about the overall plan. Now we are coming to the gridding. So now we talk about a technique that I do. It's called gridding. Um, this gridding technique is something that you might have already seen in many videos or pictures or so on. And so it's a very simple thing. I'm going to measure what I have, and this is exactly what I'm going to after I have done the gridding. I will use the gridding on the black and white paper, and I will do it with a blue colored pen, and then I will scan it and put this also after the grid is made. I will also put it through for you to download and print off the way you want it. Mm. So you will have a copy of this picture the way it is, black and white version, the other reference picture from where the colors and most accessories are going to come, and then this one that I am physically working on right now. So I see that when I am using my ruler here, I can see that this is where I have printed off. It's about close to a little more than 18 centimeters in the length, in the breadth, sorry, and the length or the height of it is, I actually measured it a little before. It's 18, and I don't have a longer one right now. I do have a longer ruler, but then that's so dirty you will be able to see nothing. So with the paint, of course. Yes. So I can see that it's 18 plus 6, 24. This is 24 centimeters, and this is 24 cms, and this is about 18 centimeters. I want to keep that 24 length. It's going to talk to me somehow with the length of the um, canvas. But this breadth 18 also could talk to the canvas, the actual length and breadth of the canvas. So I'm going to write it down on a piece of paper here. So the actual length and breadth of the canvas, we are placing it vertically. The length of the canvas is 80. The breadth is 60 centimeters. This is what it is. And right now, what did we do? We have just seen that the printout that I took is giving me the length of 24 and 18 centimeters. I'm going to divide this by 3 to see, okay, it's when I divide it by 3, what happens? It is 6 multiplied by 3. 6 threes are 18. The 6 works well with 60. And here, what is it? Yeah, 8 by 3 centimeters. 8 threes are 24. The 8 works well with 80. How? So we will enlarge this. After we are gridding, we use the same type of grid, but we will be able to enlarge this into 8 into 10 centimeters and 6 into 10 centimeters to get to the 80 and 60 centimeters. Back again. So what are we going to do aside from making all these details of alterations? What are we going to do? This is a very simple way of enlarging a picture. So whatever we have on this paper is going to be 3 by 3 centimeter boxes, grids that I'm going to draw, and every 3 centimeter box is going to be converted into a 10 centimeter box there in the canvas. This is a very simple calculation. I'm going very slow into the mathematics so that everybody that is also learning this idea for the first time, even the ones that know it very well, all of you are able to follow through. So let me do the marking. I'm marking it slightly away here so that on the white space so that you can see what I am doing. And when I do the grids also, it's helpful for you to follow. So I am doing 0. What is it? 3 centimeter breaks, isn't it? So 3 centimeter breaks, 3 and 6 and 9 and 12 and 15, and then comes the 18. So that's how we get the 3 centimeter blocks here on the vertical range, which is this one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks, isn't it? So this is what I'm going to do. Mark again on this side so I can just connect both. And also, you will not have to worry about it because this will be available for you by the time you are viewing this. But still, when you are doing such a thing, it really matters how you are planning on your enlarging of a picture. I have seen, or I have also personally experienced going wrong with the calculations and so on, and that's how the proportions go wrong. These pictures that are so tremendously beautiful, it's slight proportion errors. That is just misplacing things, not enabling go that far that they could. I am checking again and I'm seeing that where exactly is this? I need the larger, so bear with me. This is the worst side of oil painting. This is helping me connect the dots properly. That's what I want. So I draw this line through in blue so that it comes clearly after the scanning for you when you are downloading this picture. These are minor elements. Yeah. And I think right now we also have software to take care of all these things. I have seen people, artists, specifically continuing to work on their they have their own laptops open or some gadget open where the grids are the picture with the grids are available, so they keep watching that and working on it. That's really amazing. I would also love to do something like that. I have tried doing it. It's not that I have never done it. I have tried doing it, but for me this traditional way helps me understand things better. I think I have also explained in the previous step that that we talked about uh, washing the first coat, making a wash versus um, painting it fully. That gives an exact experience. So what we had talked about in the last session was on about the shortcuts that are available versus doing it manually or slowly the first time. This is exactly what I would suggest people to do with this also. This gives a little bit more of understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. And also note the last line. Maybe it's slightly going off to the side. I'm not too much worried about it. Usually I don't do this last two, but I'm doing this for you in case you will prefer to download the picture that I have in my hand. Yeah. So this aspect, the vertical aspect, we did the 18 centimeter divided into 6 blocks. We are going to do the similar aspect here on the horizontal grid also. Remember, it was somewhere around 20, 24, isn't it? Again, we do a 3 centimeter block. Hmm? So it's 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. We continue further. So that is 19, 20, 21, and then the 24 that is happening here. So I'm going to do the same marking on this side. It's a minor difference where the picture's image is ending and where I am starting to mark. Even that matters. I'm just watching that. I have even seen professional artists that are wanting to do a very, what do you call, a hyper realistic picture or portrait or something. They also prefer doing some gridding. So there is no shame at all in gridding. There is so much taboo attached to it. I have noticed some people do comment on it. Oh, you should be able to draw freehand. Yeah, that's also something that I do. I have. We also work on freehand. We also learn freehand. It is important. But at the same time, there is no harm at all in. In practicing all these grids. Trust me, in spite of these grids, you're going to tell me that this painting is going to be a challenge because we have a lot of elements that we are going to change. So it is going to be so tough for us that you will only appreciate having this grid at one point in time. Yeah. So we'll have the basics right. And this grid will help us also identify some corrections that we want to make. Why and where is the angle right? Uh, and then we will be able to make some detail level changes. The garment and the angle where the air is moving. Is it making sense? We don't see air, but the cloth movement is telling us the story of air movement, isn't it? Where the swing is what kind of force it is and how fast maybe it is. So many things. It looks static, but there is a lot of dynamic aspects about it here. It'll be interesting if I find another background idea, um, or it could be my imagination also. I have also done certain things from my imagination. into the background, changing things and so on. So it will also be that. So this is the final grid work. So 3 centimeter grids. Just for you to remember this, I'm just going to add this in the same um, 3 by 3 centimeter grids. And what I did was, so that it's like equal sized boxes there for us to work on when we move on to the larger canvas. And this 18 centimeters, and 24 centimeters, isn't it? 24 centimeters. What we did was to take 8 multiplied by 3, and then this was 6 multiplied by 3. We are going to change this into 8 multiplied by 10 versus 6 multiplied by 10. So 80 by 60 centimeter canvas. This is exactly what we are going to do. Overall plan ready. Yes. So let's just summarize what we discussed today on the planning side of it. So we have looked into some references that I prefer to work on. There is one key reference, and then there is an additional reference. The key reference gives the storyline that I want, the picture or the portrait of Radha and Krishna swinging. This is the key reference that I was searching for, so I'm convinced with it. Even though there is a key reference, there is going to be a lot of changes to the key reference. So we have adapted, we have identified another option to look at for colors or shapes and so on, some more definitions. In spite of all these things, we also have an element on corrections that we want to be sure of, that we have in mind. And last but not least, we also learned how to manually do the grid, and how to also think of the grid from the perspective of, even though we are not sitting in front of the canvas today, we are thinking from the perspective of how will this grid match or make it easier for you. You can really put grids in different directions and work on canvas in different directions, dimensions as well, provided you are aware of where the length and breadth goes wrong and how do you going to adjust. It's too much taxing for the brain to take on. So make it simpler as possible. For me, this 3 by 3 is a very simple box. These are all equal sized boxes, and I'm going to get equal sized boxes when I go to the canvas. So making 10 by 10 boxes. So what I will try to do is to just take out and do the same thing there. Also, when I did the grid here, you can already see that it's going across the finger of Lord Krishna. So again, remember I talked about the angle error. I am expecting that when I fix that, I will be able to adjust it. So this, even though we have the 3 by 3 boxes here, we might not exactly have the same kind of leg. This is something that we both will have to watch out for. Yeah. So I think we have enough in hand. So this was a summary. And I'm now looking forward to the next step. The next step for us is to start making this grid, 10 by 10 grid on the canvas, and then get on to making the rough sketch. The rough sketch as such, because we lack the beauty. The beauty is so overpowering, we are unable to see beyond the beauty the possible errors or the possible opportunities to work, improvise. So, we are going to go back to a very simple and basic sketch on the canvas that's going to really come across and show us some points where we could fix these errors wherever there are errors. If they're not, it'll also show. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for being with me, and I'm looking forward to the next um, session with you. And hope you all are with me continuously throughout the whole building of this picture, and also enjoy doing the same along with me. Thank you very much for being so patient. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.